All right, guys, so a long time ago, I put up a video, well, a couple videos of just kind of throwing some paint and body, just some content out there, and I've noticed that it's been picking up steam quite a bit. A lot of my subscribers I've been picking up, you know, pushing that snowball, have been coming from that space. So we're gonna talk about stuff that's actually in my wheelhouse, you know, because the Camaro content and the auto body is starting to, So today I wanna talk about DA Sander, dual action sander. A lot of people don't know, and it took me a long time because there's not a lot of knowledge and a lot of people that actually know what they're talking about in this space, so they just pick up the tools and, you know, just kind of figure out and manipulate and work as you go. There's nothing wrong with that. I did that with a lot of things simply because there wasn't content out there like this. So I ended up wasting a lot of money and buying stuff that I was kind of let down by. After today's video, you're not gonna do that with the DA Sander. So DA Sander, what does that stand for? It stands for dual action sander. Now typically a dual action sander is one that orbits in a random orbit, which is the other one. And then there's one that you can flip a switch and it will lock that center weight and it'll actually spin like a straight shaft design. Why do they do that? Because of friction. If you spin in a straight circle in just one spot, you can create a ton of friction. Now, what does that do? That's gonna remove a lot of material very, very quickly, but that's also gonna wear out your sandpaper very, very quickly too. And as you know, sandpaper these days, I went back and checked a lot of these parts on filler, primer, clear coat. It's just, everything's like through the freaking roof. So you have to really, really be careful where you put your money these days. And I'm gonna be honest with you, this tool is not for straightening panels or working mud or whatever. Can it be? Yeah, I'm gonna be hesitant to say yes. I've seen it done, I've done it myself, but that's typically in small areas. This is gonna be for prepping a surface, cutting down orange peel, knocking the scuds coat off of like primers or clears, you know, just prepping and prepping bigger surfaces. You can use them to feather out edges. I'll talk about pads, different applications for, you know, different kind of repair work areas. DA Sander is one of by far the most things that you're gonna use. I know when I say you can't straighten with it, you know, straighten mud, straighten primer, or anything like that, I know your mind wants to put it on the back burner and toss it aside, but I swear this is gonna be one of the biggest things that you buy as an auto bodyman. If this is what you're gonna use to make your money with or to get through a project with, I would recommend at least going mid-tier to higher tier to actually get a quality piece, something that's gonna last a long time. I got it broke off in me and I ended up buying a Snap-on. So you can see that this bad boy is old, man. This thing, I've had this for years and years and years, and I will tell you, sometimes quality doesn't cost, sometimes it actually pays dividends. And I'm gonna be honest with you, a lot of people actually call it a DA Sander no matter what. Hand me the DA Sander, use your DA on that. We're talking about this. You know, it actually will, I don't know if you can hear the veins in there pushing the air around, but it will actually orbit, and this has got a 3/16 orbit. I'll get into it here in a little bit, and it'll also spin. So some people, that's how they reference the DA, dual action. Every DA will come with the spoon, spanner wrench, hub wrench, whatever you want to call it. So how these things work is you're gonna have a skirt on every sander. So what you want to do is you want to dig under that skirt, get the spoon in there, and I'm gonna be honest with you, sometimes you can sometimes you can shop around and you can find one that actually has the same hex head as like something to do with your spray gun, something to do, some commonalities, because I used to be able to keep like a mixing cup on my bench, and I used to have just like quick tools, so I tried to keep everything the same size, shared the same size, and that way it kind of made my life a lot easier. But inside, as it spins, that's how it creates that orbit. A lot of these newer sanders actually come with a quick button, kind of like the new angle grinders do, where you can just spin it, lock it, do it all with your thumb, and boom, peel it off. I'm gonna be honest with you, the orbit is super, super important. That's the one thing that you wanna pay attention to the most. Typically, in our space, there was only 3 sizes. I think there was like a 5/16, a 3/16, which is considered general purpose, and then like a 3/32. I come to find out that they have a 3/8. 3/8 was really never available to us, but I can only imagine because the bigger of an orbit you can get this thing to make, the more material it's gonna remove. And this is what the magazines or websites and everything don't tell you. The bigger the orbit, the more that machine's gonna wear your hand out. It's gonna fatigue your hand, it's gonna fatigue your wrist. It's gonna jump around a lot more, so that way it's gonna create an uneven surface. You're gonna find it harder to keep the pad actually straight on the panel. They do have interface pads, which is like a big sponge that will go in between the sandpaper and the actual backing plate itself. And this will help, you know, if your hand is fatigued after running this DA sander for a long time, kind of tilt your hand to one angle, any angle, that interface pad will actually keep that paper flat on the surface. Typically what you have is Hook It. Hook It is like Velcro. That's 3M's kind of whatever the commonality, and you know, it's the social norm of what every tool manufacturer is known for making Velcro. You have Hook It 1 and Hook It 2. Hook It 2's kind of died off anymore, but all it is like, so regular Hook It, and this one is actually a dust-free one, because you can actually, I'll get to it here in just a little bit, but keep that in mind with this plate. Looks like whatever I sanded last was red. This is gonna be the hook part of, and then you have the soft side of the sandpaper. Now a lot of people, as they were sanding, this thing would become off-centered and come to one side. This would actually dig into your clear coat or whatever. That's primarily why they come around to Hook It 2, because all it did was flip-flop. So now the pad would be the loop part and the paper was actually the scratchy part. So that kind of eliminated that, but a lot of people didn't like it. There was getting to be too much stuff in the mix. And then you have the third, which is gonna be PSA. PSA stands for pressure sensitive adhesive, then just the sticky back. And all it is glue that keeps it attached. It's awesome because one, it's cheaper, but it's single use only. If the edges start to peel up, it gets dust under there, the pad or the paper's gonna start letting go. Also, obviously, once you peel it off, it's done. I mean, you can fold it on itself and use it by hand, but I've seen people try to get it back on the machine, but I digress. If you're going to try to use it to straighten it all, you're gonna have to use PSA. That's what a lot of these sanders come with standard right out of the box anyhow. I'm gonna leave the pad off of it for just for simple ease. Okay, you see this regulator valve right here? All your nicer DAs are gonna have that valve. It's nothing more than to choke off the air. You don't wanna run these things at full speed. One, it's hard on the machine. You're gonna be blowing a lot. They call this your exhaust. But they call this your exhaust. You're gonna be blowing a lot of air and oil that comes from the air compressor. If it's ripping through your machine too quick, we all know as that air expands really super fast, it'll start spitting out water if you don't have super clean air. Not every body shop's equipped with dry, or you know, a big 3-stage dryer system, or you know, something even better yet. I usually run my machine about halfway. I just run it to where you can put medium pressure down and the machine won't lug. One, it's gonna make your sandpaper last longer because you're running it cooler, and I'll do another video on sandpaper here real soon. And also two, like I said, you're gonna be not gonna be spitting contaminants out your exhaust onto the medium that you're gonna be sanding into, because once they get on there and then that sandpaper digs down into it, now you got a freaking problem. You're gonna have to really clean to get it all the way out and ready to reprime, seal, or some people spray base coat directly on. I don't know, just a FYI. If you're gonna be joining a body shop or whatever, or if you're doing this by yourself at home, you can use a different style coupler. This is just a regular, what they call a D series. I think the G's were the best. You can go all the way up to an F. Higher up you go in the alpha grade, the bigger the ID inlet of the fitting. These D series, they're super common. They're pretty much every shop has them. That's pretty much what comes on every attachment for every air compressor right out of the box. But this is a smaller inlet than what the ID of your hose is. So it's a bottleneck point. You're really not feeding all the air that this sander can really consume. That's gonna make a big difference as well in the performance. Find something that's very comfortable and ergonomic. If you can go to a store, auto body parts store, that actually has these on the shelf, you can go. Some of these come with different grip sizes. That's really nice, but when they come with different attachments, different styles to fit different ergos, usually the price runs up. So if you got a body part store, make sure that you can go actually put it in your hand. I'm telling you, it's gonna really fatigue your hand. Also, I don't know if every one of these, but you see how that's threaded there? Some of these you can actually take off and plug in a vacuum to where you can hook it up to your shop vac. And that's where the part of these holes come in there. Some places this really took off, some places it really didn't. A lot of people got mad because if you look at all that, typically the price of the paper went up. You had to line the holes up, and that was for every hole that was made that was grit or medium that you didn't get as a consumer. So you were kind of screwing yourself, but causing a cleaner, you know. It's 6 one, half dozen the other. Hopefully you got some useful information out of this. If you did, like the video, subscribe on your way out. If you have any questions, like I said, drop them below. I'll get to everybody. Till then, I'll see you guys on the next video. Thank you, and see you later.